Hi, my name is Kathy Emter, and I work at CSDB. I'm here to provide you with some information about what you should do if you see or you suspect something might not be right in a home where you're providing a service. If you think a child is being abused or neglected, what should you do in that situation? Here in the state of Colorado, we have a law for protecting children and making sure that they're safe. Because you work with children and you provide a service to them, that means that you also must follow the law called the Colorado Child Protection Act. Anyone who works with students, children, babies, have to be responsible for reporting if they feel that something is not quite right or something's happening in the home, or maybe a child becomes hurt or you feel like they're being neglected. You must report that for that child's safety. Some of you may be wondering, if I make a report, does that mean that I become liable? The answer to that is no, you are not liable. If you are making a report, anyone who makes a report, you're exempt from liability from making the report, because we want children to be safe. If you make a report to DHS or the police and they investigate it in the home and they find out that nothing is going on, you are not responsible for that. You are just making sure that the child's safety is most important. Now, if you make up a false report on purpose, then yes, you could be liable for false reporting. So suppose you report to the police and the police go and they look and they don't find anything going on in the home. Remember, I said you're not liable for that. However, if you see something is not quite right and you decide not to make the report, you can become liable for that. If you see or you suspect something is not right, you have to make a call. If you ignore it, that is when you become liable. Also related to liability, if you see or you suspect or you feel like something might be going on and you tell your supervisor about what's going on in that home, that does not release you from liability. You must call DHS directly. Simply telling your supervisor is not enough. Because you provide service to students and children, babies, you are called what's known as a mandatory reporter. People who are mandatory reporters may be firemen, police, maybe foster families, foster parents who take care of children, people who work in churches, the people that develop the film, maybe at Walgreens. All of those people are responsible for children's safety and making reports as mandated reporters. So we've talked about why you need to report, but maybe you're wondering, what do you need to report? There's 4 different kinds of abuse. The first one is neglect. We also have physical abuse, emotional abuse, and sexual abuse. I'll explain each one of the 4. The first one that we're going to talk about is neglect. Neglect is when a student or a child doesn't have their basic needs. Like, for example, food. Maybe their home is inadequate. They don't have heat, their home is very cold, or they're not able to provide heat. Think about basic needs. It doesn't have to be high quality housing. We're talking about basic safety needs for a child. If you're thinking that a child is being neglected, or you notice that maybe they don't have enough food, you notice their kitchen, the cupboards are bare, maybe the child seems very dirty. Now understand, some children do get dirty. Think about summertime, they're outside, they're playing, dirt is normal. But we're thinking hygiene, dirtier than what a normal child would be. Maybe you're also noticing that there's not supervision in the home. The parents are not available and the children are not being cared for. That's also neglect. Being in the home, you also may notice or suspect that the parents are using drugs or alcohol and they're not available to take care of their children. That also is neglect. The second kind of abuse that we're going to talk about is physical abuse. Physical abuse is anytime you see a mark, a bruise, a burn, or even maybe a broken bone. Sometimes physical abuse may not cause any marks. And there may not be any sign of the abuse, but maybe the child is telling you that they were hit. Maybe the child tells you a story and you look at the mark or the bruise and it just makes sense. The story and the marks match up. That is good evidence that physical abuse is happening. It's possible that you may notice a mark, and when you ask the child about it, they may tell you a story that doesn't seem to make sense with what you see. For example, if they tell you that they fell off their bike and they have a scratch, that could make sense. That's normal. So use your judgment. Emotional abuse is a hard one to notice because a lot of it depends on your judgment. You need to look at what's going on with the child and make a decision. Emotional abuse is when a parent, an older child, or another adult is consistently putting down the child. You will notice that children may have emotional reactions that are very limited for their age. Maybe they're feeling shamed, or maybe they feel embarrassed. Parents may call them names, tell them that they're no good, or make other statements. Sometimes parents don't make appropriate statements. We know that, and we know that it happens. But what's important to remember about emotional abuse is that it happens often. It's a consistent and ongoing pattern. Maybe you notice that the parents are not providing love, kisses, hugs. Maybe parents seem a little bit cold with the child. The third kind of abuse is sexual abuse. That one's hard because it's very private. Oftentimes it's not visible. Usually when sexual abuse happens, it happens under the clothes. And because of your role with children, you're not going to notice what's going on. Sometimes children will disclose to you that sexual abuse is happening. Sexual abuse is anytime a parent or another adult or even another child exploits that child sexually. It could be that the child has someone who is sexually molesting them. It could be a parent, another adult, and it also could be a sibling or an older child. Sexual abuse also can mean taking inappropriate pictures. If you're in the home and you happen to notice that there is inappropriate pictures of children, then that should be reported. Again, sexual abuse is hard to notice because it's very secretive and it happens under a child's clothing. Sometimes a child may have pain in their genital area. If you notice that you're working with them and they are uncomfortable sitting, you may ask yourself why. You also may notice that a child may be talking about inappropriate topics. For example, a young child who has extensive sexual knowledge may make you wonder who told them that and how do they know that it's not appropriate for their age. You also may notice that the child may just tell you that something is going on. This doesn't happen very often. Sexual abuse is also hard because the child has been told that it's a secret and the child knows that it's a private topic, and so oftentimes they don't disclose that information. Now we finished talking about the different kinds of abuse. Now suppose you go into a home and you see something. What do you do? How do you make that report? You'll be provided a form of suspected child abuse form to help you organize your thoughts and make a plan before you call DHS. The form is for you to keep for your own information. So later on, if you need to look back to refer to the form, it will help you remember. My suggestion is that you inform CSDB about your form after you've filled it out, just in case something comes up later on in the future with the family or something happens, then your CSDB contact is ready with that information. I'm going to explain how to use the form. The top part of the form is for parent information first. That information may be parent name, address, phone number, or maybe it's not a parent, maybe it's another adult. It's the person that you're reporting on. That's whose name that you put in the form. If you don't have some information like the phone number, it's okay. Just put down on the form whatever you know. The second part of the form is child information. That would include the child's name, their address, their birthday, their age, or maybe if it's involving a sibling, you would put that information down too. If there's some information that you don't know, it's fine. Put down as much information as you know, and that will help you when you call. The third section asks you what you saw. That is where you would write in there, I saw bruises, I saw the children are very hungry. Whatever you saw or whatever you noticed in the home is what you put there. You really want to avoid using sentences like, I feel that the children are neglected, or I'm assuming, or I'm guessing. We need facts. You want to write down in there, the child told me this, or I saw this information. After you've completed the form, you want to go ahead and call DHS. If you need to call through VRS, that's fine. DHS will accept those calls as well. It's important to know that you must call the Department of Human Services in the county where the suspected abuse is happening. After you make the report, it's important to keep that report confidential. We want to respect the privacy of the family. When you're finished making the report, contact your CSDB contact person. The two of you can discuss the report before you go back into the home again. If you're not sure of what you saw, or if you're not sure that something needs to be reported or what you should do, call DHS anyway. You can give them the situation and explain what's happened and tell them you're unsure of what to do, and DHS will help you. They're very knowledgeable about this type of thing, and they will help you make the decision about what you need to do next. Maybe they'll tell you that that information does not need to be reported, but if it is reportable, they will help you and guide you through the reporting process. If you need some advice or some guidance before making a call, you can talk to your contact person at CSDB, but simply talking to that person does not release you from responsibility for calling. The person who needs to call is the person who went into the home and saw or suspected the abuse. If you saw it, then you must be the one to call it directly. Your contact person didn't see it, they weren't there. And DHS will not accept them calling on your behalf. It must come directly from you. If a situation comes up and you're not sure what to do, there are some people who can help you. You have your contact person at CSDB. You also have me. I'm a counselor here at CSDB, and you can contact me. I'm happy to help you. Also, you have the Director of Outreach at CSDB. Give her a call or email and she can provide you some guidance. Also, we have several other members of a mental health team at CSDB, and any one of us are happy to help you anytime. I know it's a big responsibility to go into the homes of different families and serving their children, but we all have the responsibility to keep children safe.
This has been a production of the Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind, 33 North Institute Street, Colorado Springs, Colorado, 80903, 719-578-2100, www.csdb.org. Videography by Deb Branch.